Hi, this is Terry, and it's about writing. So today we have Christina Sinisi with us, and she actually just has a new release she's going to talk to us about and her new book. So Christina, why don't you tell us about yourself and your work?
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Christina Sinisi, and by day I'm a professor and teach psychology. I have been writing since third grade, but I've just been published in novella form starting last year. And I have a Christmas novella from last year, and I'll hold that up. That was Christmas Confusion, set in Charleston.
Oh,
And yes, and then this year, Christmas on Ocracoke. And then next summer, I'm having a follow-up to Christmas Confusion called Sweet Summer. And that's coming out in May. And all of these books are Christmas, so far Christmas, but Christian contemporary romance.
okay.
So,
So how did the Christmas theme come about? Was that just an opening, an opportunity?
yes, it wasn't something I had planned. I've been writing, as I said, for years and getting close, but not getting the yes to be published. And last summer of 2019 in June, June 6th, there was a call that I saw on the American Christian Fiction Writers loop, email loop, for Christmas novella. And it was due by the end of the month. And I wrote that in 3.5 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
And turned it in and got accepted. Whereas, I've written other books that took me a year or two and didn't get the yes. So it was just
Wow.
I think, things happen when they're supposed to happen.
So you went from 0 to finished in 3 months, like even the
3 weeks.
creating the character, 3 weeks, 3 weeks,
3 weeks.
creating
3 weeks.
characters.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I had never done anything that fast before. It was just like, I'm going to get this done. And it helps that in the summer, in that particular time in the summer, I was not teaching.
Oh yeah.
I was off. So I could write, I think it was only 7 pages a day, somewhere between 7 and 10 a day, and, just got it done.
Yeah. So you said you've been writing for a long time. So how long would you say you've been really working at writing?
Let's see. Well, I started writing in third grade. That's not really, fun stuff. After college, I wrote a novel and submitted it and got rejected. And I didn't know where to go from there. And so then I was in graduate school and I just didn't have time. So I did not write really between graduate school and my daughter starting kindergarten.
Okay.
So there's a chunk of time where I really didn't have time to write fiction because I was, writing articles and working on my doctorate. And but once she started kindergarten, and she graduated from college last year in 2019. That time I was working at writing pretty seriously, but I'm also a professor. So during the school year, I didn't have much time. But so the 16 years of her education in the summers, I was working really hard.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's great. So did you submit a lot during that time, or?
I don't know that I would compete with some, but I would, some years I would maybe submit. So I really could have submitted a lot more than I did, maybe 10 a year at most.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be the same manuscript. And then the next year I'd write a new one.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if you remember the Romantic Times magazine.
I'm not sure.
Yes, it just folded, or maybe it wasn't so much that it folded as the founder stepped down and retired and the magazine stopped publishing, but it was a long-lasting national magazine where they reviewed romance novels, and they had a contest called the American Title.
Okay.
Fashioned after American Idol.
Oh, oh, I see.
Yeah, and I was one of the top 10 finalists one year. And so, I mean, I would get really, really close. And that was in the national magazine. And,
Mm-hmm.
and the editor, and the prize at the end was a book contract.
Mm-hmm.
I did not win, but the editor kept my manuscript anyway and considered it. So out of all the 10 people that were the finalists, she gave the one that they gave a contract, and then mine. Those were the only two that she kept.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a shakeup at the publisher, and I didn't get published. It was just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating.
I've heard so many stories of people that it wasn't because they didn't like their book, but all these other reasons, so many reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So, how about like how many rejections would you say you got? I know you said you didn't really count them, but or tell us about one that was especially heartbreaking.
There was one time my mentor, Eloisa James, I don't know if you've heard her name. She's a historical fiction writer.
Okay.
And she's a New York Times bestseller, really well known in her area, Regency romance. And she was friends with the editor at the time, and I'm actually blocking on her name, of Love Inspired.
Okay.
And she literally walked my manuscript to this lady, and she worked with me. I made probably 30 edits, little things.
Very specific on what they take, aren't they?
Yes, and did all those edits, and then she's like, so that one was really hard because it was like people had said, "Oh, she gave your manuscript to this lady by hand. You're published," and it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. So how do you just schedule then? Every summer you're going to write a book.
That's how I've done it. Yes.
Yeah.
Until this past year, when that novella was accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like, and once that happened, I was like, I'm not going to stop. I want to keep moving. So last year I wrote that novella, and then I wrote in the fall after that June acceptance. So I got that was accepted at the beginning of July. I wrote a full-length novel before the end of the year, and that's the one coming out next year.
Okay.
And then this year, when they told me they couldn't get the full-length novel out this year because it was too, they had a publishing schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I don't want to have nothing out this year. So the beginning of this year, I wrote the other Christmas novella.
Okay.
And that was done the first half of the year. And then the second half, I'm almost done with another full-length novel because I want to keep going now that I finally got somewhere.
Very motivational, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Well, we're just so excited for you. And I
Thank
hope
you.
you get lots of sales. Be sure you send me all your links, and I will attach them to this video so people can look up your website and your books and everything. Be a great Christmas present, wouldn't it?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could give other writers one or two pieces of advice, what would you say?
So my theme, I guess, is persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, I had all those rejections and had those close but no cigar moments, I kept writing.
Mm-hmm.
I may not have kept submitting every year there. Sometimes it would be hard and I wouldn't submit for a while, but I kept writing. And even there was one year where I was just so busy with work, I didn't really write. The next year, I just wrote like a mad person because I had so much writing in me that needed to get out.
That's great.
I just highly encourage people to persist. And even if you don't get published in one form, you can probably get published in another form. There's online magazines. There's online, there's now I'm blocking on the name of the lady who does books that raise money for Samaritan's Purse. You can do a little short story for that. There's just so many ways that you can write. that just don't let a no here stop you from pursuing this dream of writing. And again, even if you don't get exactly what you dreamed of, God may have other dreams for you. So I highly encourage people to persist, and I highly encourage people to find other avenues or different, because again, I had never even written a novella. I always had been writing these big books. So there's just ways that it can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people have broken in with doing novellas first. And those where they put them together in a book.
Yes.
That's a really great opportunity, great way to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
You are welcome.
So we're so excited for you and happy that you're published and on your way.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. God bless you and goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Nice to meet you online.
You too.